Chip makers like Nvidia are dominating AI stock returns, with Nvidia alone up 700% in just 2 years, and the broader semiconductor ETF, the SOXX, more than double the market's return, up 87% in 2 years, versus a 37% return on the S&P 500. But those returns could be nothing compared to the next wave in the AI revolution. Semiconductors are the infrastructure to that trend, processing tools to run the programs, like the $25 billion Highway Act of 1956 that modernized the country's transportation infrastructure and unleashed America's productivity for the next half-century. So what happens when the infrastructure for artificial intelligence unleashes that productivity for companies and consumers? Now, don't get me wrong, chip makers like Nvidia will continue to do well. We're still building out that infrastructure for artificial intelligence, but even after that, more and faster chips will be needed to continuously process the AI that's going to change our lives. But you are not going to see that same 8x return you've seen over the last 2 years. For that to happen, Nvidia would have to grow to a $24 trillion company. That would be almost as large as the entire US economy, and bigger than the next 10 largest companies combined. Nation, you cannot invest in the current hot trend and expect the same returns that got it there. You need to be investing in that next trend. And we got a glimpse of what that could look like from Klarna just recently with a viral tweet by the CEO that AI is helping the company become brutally efficient. The buy now pay later firm was able to cut marketing spend by 11% just in the first 3 months of the year, a $10 million savings, while actually increasing the number of campaigns and marketing materials. The company's chief of marketing, Sandstrom, says AI will lead to a 10x increase in productivity for its marketers and has decreased development time for its department from 6 weeks down to just 7 days. Klarna also found that 90% of its employees are using generative AI on a daily basis, not just for marketing, but also in legal, administrative, and communications. The company previously said that its AI chatbot was doing the work of 700 full-time customer service jobs, saving $40 million a year. So then finding that next wave in AI, we need to start looking at the use cases, the companies and sectors that are going to see the same productivity booms that Klarna has seen. I'll be doing that over a series of videos, but I want to start with healthcare because the sector could see the most benefit, the most potential from the revolution in artificial intelligence. The United States has battled a shortage of medical professionals for years, and it is only going to get worse. We could be short as many as 124,000 doctors and more than 78,000 nurses by 2030, with the recent trend being more towards nursing retirements than graduation. Now, my wife is a nurse, so that nursing shortage means big bucks for us as her salary jumps, but the labor shortage is destroying the healthcare industry, and the only way out could be using AI to boost productivity. Not only could artificial intelligence help ease that shortage, it's already being seen in 3 key segments across healthcare: robotics, medical devices, and drug discovery. These 3 industries alone will grow to over $1.1 trillion on current forecasts, and that's where we want to start looking for this next wave of AI stocks to buy. AI is furthest along in healthcare robotics, where hospitals have already used innovations in imaging and surgery to save lives. According to Grandview Research, the global healthcare robotics market is already valued at nearly $26 billion and projected to grow 17% annually to $76 billion by 2030. A rate of growth that will lift companies in the industry. AI is revolutionizing medical robotics by enhancing precision, allowing for highly accurate surgical procedures, and minimizing human error. AI is being used in diagnostics, performing imaging analysis, and leading to earlier and more accurate disease detection. Within the medical robotics space, surgical and pharmacy robots are already the highest use cases and expected to see the largest growth over the next decade. Studies find that medication errors harm more than 1.5 million annually, and as many as 9,000 people die from errors in the United States alone. Besides faster and more accurate diagnoses, AI robotics can also reduce the human error rate around that medication. Outside of surgical and pharmacy, we could also see fast growth in robotics for rehabilitation and emergency response. And within those AI stocks to watch, Intuitive Surgical, ticker ISRG, is the leader in healthcare robotics, best known for its Da Vinci surgical system, which enables minimally invasive surgery with precision through robotic-enhanced vision and control for surgeons. ISRG has mountains of data to train its AI models, with over 2.2 million procedures just last year and 9,400 systems in hospitals globally. That is a 22% increase in procedures, with 35% increase in the non-urology segment, and at a time when many hospitals are struggling with a decrease in overall surgical procedures. The company has integrated AI and machine learning into its Da Vinci system to support real-time decision-making, including analyzing tissue characteristics and optimizing procedures. Its Sureform staplers can take 1,000+ measurements per second, automatically adjusting the firing process to prevent tissue damage. And its Firefly near-infrared fluorescent capability helps surgeons visualize things impossibly small to the human eye. Beyond this, ISRG is also using AI to improve surgical programs, shortening training times for surgeons, and reducing overall costs, including predictive maintenance for its systems. Even before what could be a boom in AI-driven revenue, ISRG has grown its revenue at a 15% annual pace over the last 6 years. And better still, recurring revenue from its leases, services, and instruments has grown to 83% of its total. Revenue the company can count on. Forecasted revenue growth of 13% this year and 16% next is expected to produce a 14% annual pace of earnings growth, but could just be the beginning as the company unlocks that AI future. Vicarious Surgical, ticker RBOT, is very much riskier, but has that penny stock potential at just $62 million market cap. Compare that with the $152 billion ISRG, and you can see the potential here. A 24,000% return if RBOT can even grow to 1/10 that size. I will highlight the risks here, but Vicarious thinks it has an advantage in its unique decoupled design to robotic surgery that is going to help make the procedure even less invasive. The company's proprietary design decouples the actuator arm on the robot to increase range and precision of movement. So it's starting from that point and hoping to build on it with AI to reduce errors and accidents in surgery, putting as much of the procedure on autopilot as possible. That is a big goal here and would help it grab market share in that $150 billion surgical robotics market, but I don't want to underestimate the risks. This is still a pre-revenue company with its first clinical patient not expected until next year, and years outside meaningful revenues. Vicarious has signed key partnerships with leading providers like HCA Healthcare that should help keep development going, but it's going to burn through about $14 million in cash each quarter, with only $39 million in balance sheet cash as of the most recent report. That means it will definitely need to dilute existing shares through convertible offerings and more debt. That's actually pretty typical of these kinds of venture capital startup investments I used to work in as an analyst. It is high risk, high reward, but you need to give it time to grow with that potential and limit your downside by only putting maybe a small amount, if any, into these shares. The next industry, medical devices, is a $900 billion opportunity for AI stocks. But if you want to see the 5 stocks I'm buying for the next 30 years, my forever stocks, look for the link I'll leave in the description below. It's a free report I put together with the Motley Fool, some of the biggest stocks in my portfolio. Along with AI names, these stocks are in the biggest multi-year themes, with one of the picks up 100% and the group up an average 94% last year alone. That report is totally free. You're going to see the first stock immediately, and they'll email you the full report with the other stocks. It's an easy way to support the Let's Talk Money community and see some of my favorite stocks to buy. So look for that link or just click the QR code here. The AI opportunity in medical devices dwarfs that of robotics, with an industry already at $542 billion and expected to grow to $886 billion by 2032. That may only be a 6.3% annualized growth, but any company that can grab a larger market share of that on advances in AI could see a revenue boost in the tens of billions of dollars. Within the market, we see the largest share demand for in vitro diagnostics, IVD, imaging, orthopedic devices, and cardiovascular devices. AI will bring a new level of precision and personalization to medical devices, from diagnostics to treatment and monitoring. In diagnostics, AI will enable devices to analyze complex data across millions of users to improve early detection and accuracy. For example, AI-powered imaging can identify abnormalities in radiographs, MRIs, and CT scans faster and more accurately. In treatment, AI will be able to personalize devices to the patient. For example, smart insulin pumps can monitor glucose levels and adjust delivery in real time, optimizing diabetes management. If any device maker has the financial means to develop AI, it's $109 billion Medtronic, ticker MDT, the number 1 and 2 market share position in all 3 of its core segments, and constantly evolving that pipeline of products. Device maker stocks got hit last year on the fever over GLP-1 weight loss drugs, as investors worried that these new drugs would hit those related diseases like diabetes. But Medtronic and others have recouped most of those losses as the market realizes that GLP-1s aren't the miracle cure, and the device market is still growing. Organic revenue growth was 5.4% in the fourth quarter, with over $5 billion in free cash flow, supporting the 3.4% dividend yield and a $300 million annual share buyback. Within the AI theme, Medtronic already has 6 AI products already FDA approved, from its intelligent endoscopy tool that decreases miss rates on polyps by a factor of 2x, to systems for surgery imaging and neurosurgery. In the larger diabetes market, the company has its MiniMed meal detection algorithm to simplify diabetes management, automatically adjusting insulin delivery every 5 minutes. For our penny stock potential, I'm watching Butterfly Network, ticker BFLY, a $208 million company with shares just under $1 each. Butterfly is a medical imaging company trying to disrupt the ultrasound industry with its point-of-care solution and ultrasound-on-a-chip technology. The company has received FDA clearance and commercially launched its IQ3 device with revenue last year topping $66 million. Butterfly is seeing support for its accuracy and the ease of use away from that traditional cart-based model for ultrasounds, and its huge market. It's using AI in its ScanLab platform to speed awareness and distribution of the product, basically using an educational app to bring providers into the device. While the company does have $117 million in balance sheet cash, it's also burning through about $80 million a year. Maybe that's a little more financially sound than we saw with Vicarious, because this one does have revenue, but it is still in that risky startup stage. So again, I would not put more than maybe 1% or 2% of my portfolio in these, basically just to get that exposure in case it takes off 30 or 50 times. Not as large as devices, but with faster growth and the most interesting application. The drug discovery market at $65 billion is set to grow by 9% annually to over $133 billion by 2032. On average, it takes between 10 to 15 years and upwards of $3 billion to develop a new drug through compound discovery, analysis, and clinical trials. Of the 7,000 rare diseases, less than 400 have an available treatment because the commercial value of a drug would not be enough to cover that drug development. And this is where artificial intelligence is really going to shine, decreasing the cost of drug development to a fraction of the cost and time. AI algorithms analyzing datasets from genomics to proteomics can identify drug targets, screen vast chemical libraries to predict how different compounds will interact, and optimize lead compounds to improve efficacy and safety. I highlighted Recursion Pharmaceuticals, ticker RXRX, as a potential 10x stock in a recent video. Recursion is leading in the race to decode biology and recently announced its language model, Orchestrated Workflow Engine, or LOW, to perform complex drug discovery tasks using a natural language interface. It's doing this by running experiments through purpose-built AI models on massive datasets, enabling it to screen and find the compounds that won't work, basically to fail faster, so it spends less time and money developing the drugs that won't work and get to the ones that will. The company has 6 programs in the pipeline trials for 7 indications, 4 of which are in phase 2 and expecting results within the next 2 quarters. Nvidia recently invested in the company with a $50 million equity investment and is providing priority access to its hardware and resources. Recursion also has partnerships with major healthcare companies like Bayer and Genentech for research, driving $58 million in sales last year. This is still a fairly small biotech at just $2.2 billion market cap. Like most drug developers, it's not profitable yet, but has a strong balance sheet and some very strong intellectual property, driving sales growth of 30% a year. More established here is $2.5 billion Certara, ticker CERT, a leader in biosimulation software to speed drug development to a fraction of that 10-year timeline and the $3 billion cost. And biosimulation is perfect for the AI revolution because it's computer-aided modeling of biological processes to simulate how a drug is going to interact in the body, helping to screen out the compounds and the drugs that will fail and finding those with the most potential for success. The company provides its industry-leading software to a network of nearly 60,000 users to test compounds before billions are spent on development. Certara integrated AI enhancements into its product last year with purpose-built GPTs to understand scientific concepts and validate targets more effectively. The company trains its model on client-specific data and a library of 60 million life sciences research documents to speed that clinical outcome. Growth isn't quite as high as some of the other drug discovery stocks, with revenue expected up 10% this year and next, but the upside is this is already a profitable company, generating $60 million in free cash flow a year, so not nearly the risk. Our next AI healthcare stock is another penny stock with 10x potential, but beyond this deep dive into healthcare, I found another can't-miss source for AI stocks. Nvidia arguably knows more about AI than any other company and is actually using that inside information to make its own investments. Check out the video here to see the 5 stocks Nvidia is buying for triple-digit returns into the AI revolution. Another key player in AI drug discovery, Schrödinger Inc., ticker SDRG, at $1.6 billion in market cap. Schrödinger is supplementing its own drug discovery revenue by licensing out its software, which brought in $159 million of the total $216 million revenue last year. That's helping it to minimize its cash burn while developing its own pipeline through 17 collaborations, including Eli Lilly, Genentech, and Bristol Myers. Its furthest indication, though, is still in phase 1 trials, which means it's going to be years before any approvals, but good news on those trials could boost the stock. And the company has $463 million in balance sheet cash to cover the $150 million annual cash burn from its operations. Get your free report with the link in the description and see the stocks I'm buying for the next 30 years, my forever stocks. The group up an average 94% last year alone. Or click on the video to the right to see the AI stocks Nvidia is buying with its own insider information. Don't forget to join the Let's Talk Money community by tapping that subscribe button and clicking the bell notification.